Last week, Richard Sherman was listed as questionable on the injury report. He ended up playing every defensive snap that the Seahawks had against the San Francisco 49ers. When asked about the injury report yesterday, he had an interesting take on why it even exists.
No, I mean, guys are just tough. You know what I mean? Guys are tough. If you're going to play, what's the point? But I guess, from what I understand, the rule is for the gamblers, for Vegas, to make sure that the odds and everything are what they're supposed to be, which is apparently what the league is concerned about when talking about injuries and things like that. So maybe somebody should look into that, because I thought we weren't a gambling league and we were against all those things. But our injury report is specifically to make sure the gamblers get their odds right. So, I mean, that's fantasy football. Yeah, oh, my God. They're almost as bad as the gamblers.
B-Mac, do you agree with what Richard Sherman has to say about the reason why these injury reports exist?
Yeah, I agree, and I would also like to add, it's for the opposing team knowledge, too. Okay. When you're playing against a Richard Sherman Seattle Seahawks defense, if you know Richard Sherman is a bit banged up, there's a chance he may not play. So you need to do your due diligence and look at who the backup player is to Richard, just in case Richard is not in uniform. Okay. But let me educate you guys also. Anytime you see questionable, they're playing. That's basically 100% they will play if they don't have a minor setback on Saturday or Friday or Saturday. But when you see questionable, chalk it up as he will be active.
And that was the case with Richard Sherman, who played every snap last week,
like I said,
despite
they're
being
playing
questionable on the injury report. How about the Sharps in Vegas? What do they have to say? The men and women who set the lines on these NFL games, what do they have to say about Sherman's recent comments? Let's find out with our insider from VSiN, Jonathan Von Tobel. Hi, Jonathan.
Yeah, so I was really intrigued by his comments. Obviously injury reports do help you when you're trying to decipher who's going to play and who's not. But we were talking about this actually here in the studio earlier today. One thing that's important to remember is last year they made changes to the injury report. If you remember, they took away probable. So now it's just questionable or doubtful, which actually makes it harder to dissect these injury reports and see who's going to play. Because a guy who's questionable, he could not play. And obviously, earlier, a probable guy is now questionable. So you don't know what's going to happen there. So, I mean, as of lately, especially this last year since they've changed it, it really doesn't help a lot. You obviously want to check them out and put some stock in there. Really what you want to do, though, is follow, I think, beat writers. They're one of my favorite deals in terms of handicapping games. Beat writers are with teams every single day. They know people that are on the squad. They know people on the coaching staff. They talk to everybody. They always have good nuggets. So you take the injury report, but it's one of many things you have to use. And again, with the beat writers, they have their finger on the pulse. So a guy who is questionable, you don't know he's going to play, you keep an eye on Twitter or just follow some of these guys, read some of their reports, and they'll have nuggets for you that'll make you know whether the player, is leaning towards playing or not. So it's a big part of the picture, but it's not really, I don't think it's straight up for gambling. I mean, look, and the other teams too. If you're the Seahawks and you're playing the Titans this week, if Marcus Mariota is questionable or doubtful, it at least helps you prepare for, who you're going to prepare for. So, if Mariota is doubtful, it's most likely going to be Matt Castle, so on and so forth. So I don't think it's just for gambling. Helps out other teams too. And with the new changes, it doesn't really help you a whole lot because now it's a little bit more vague. So, it's there, but it's not really a big part of it.